Okay, new rule, Kelly's not allowed to touch my computer. No. I'm just kidding. All right, so now we're sharing. All right, so in Owensboro, we did, and for all our locations, we had everything updated through August. So I updated the projected 2024. I'm getting some feedback somewhere. Hold on. There we go. Okay. So projected out, and I just kind of wanted to point that out to you. You see the yellow line, and I did this for each different location. So it took basically through the end of August, and where are we going to finish the year? So you can kind of do a year by year comparison. Obviously, I've been talking about this for a while, but we knew sales were going to be down a little bit this year over last year, and then obviously significantly down from the COVID era when everything was flying off the shelves. Also, I want you to pay attention that days on market is continuing to go down. So even though for the month of August it jumped up a little bit, still for the year we're at 71, so we're down 2 days versus where we were at last year. Also, if you look at median price and average price, significant increases in both of those. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that here in a little bit. In terms of sales volume, even though we're projected out to finish over 100 houses shorter in Owensboro, a home sold, you can see our sales volume is about on pace to be about 12 million behind. And I want to note something on this. There were a couple of really huge sales in 2023, like a couple of properties that sold for multiple millions of dollars. So that gap is actually significantly smaller. Where I'm getting at with this is that even though we're selling less houses, the volume per house is significantly up. So in order for you to hit the same volume, you might not have to sell as many houses, basically where I'm going with that. In regards to looking directly at the month of August, you can see we had 165 sales. I'm actually really happy with this number. August is kind of the end of the summer selling season, if you will, and we rebounded. May, June were really tough months. Everybody knows that. July rebounded really nice with 179 sales. August, 165 sales. So hopefully that trend continues, especially obviously, interest rates, and we'll talk about that in a minute, have helped out significantly. Average days on market, like I said, for the month of August was 73. Skipping over to our active listing section, listing inventory actually continues to trend down a little bit in Owensboro. Owensboro is unique in this. When we look at the rest of the territories, it's kind of going the opposite direction. And inventory is sitting at 2.3 months worth of inventory. So who remembers what a balanced market is in terms of months of inventory? Anybody?
Is it 6?
Yeah. 6 months. So again, good job. So outside of June, when we just had super low sales driving that number up, this is probably honestly the highest inventory that we've had since the very, very beginning of 2024 or late 2023. So just something to kind of pay attention to in regards to that. Looking at our other areas, again, if you project out, looking at the yellow line, about 700 or so sales less. The average days on market has gone up. And again, just like Owensboro and all the rest of the territories, the median price has gone up about 9,400, and the average price has gone up a little over 5,000, if I'm reading that correctly. Yeah. But what's really interesting when you look at the month of August, 526 sales. So that is where we had over 600 sales every single month with the exception of June. August comes in underneath 600 sales. And I'm obviously not counting January, February, just our main selling season there. Days on market is 94. Days on market has gone up 6 days versus last year. Also look at our active listings. You can see 684. So like I said, right now E-Town's seeing a big expansion in terms of the active listings, and things are tending to stick around a little bit longer than they really have at any point before. E-Town's inventory through the end of the month was 1.68 months. So significantly less inventory than when looking at Owensboro in terms of where the market balance is. However, we're noticing that their inventory is steadily growing. So we expect that number to kind of expand a little bit from there. Looking at Louisville, a really similar story. You can see they're on pace to finish about 900 units short of where they were last year. The days on market did trend up, but honestly, when your days on market in the 20s, it's kind of hard for it to go any direction but up, right? And then median price and average list price, you can see are both significantly up. The median price being up 17,000, with the average list price being up right at 10,000. In regards to their inventory continues to climb. We crossed over 2,000 available units back in May, and that's all the way up to 2,500 now. With that, you've also seen an increase in their months of inventory. So coming in at pretty much the highest of all of them at 2.88 months worth of inventory. Their average days on market of active listings is 64. So what's really interesting is even though there's more listings, the average days on market still staying the same, which means if you're selling in the Louisville area or E-Town area, pricing homes is more important than ever, because if you price them, they're moving. If you don't price them, they're staying for a little while. So just something to kind of take into consideration when looking through the stats. Looking in our Evansville and Indiana area, again, looking at their projected numbers year to date, just under right at 1,000 or so, 900 units difference in regards to what's going to sell. Their days on market, similar story. Days on market are a little bit up. The sales price, both median and average sales price, probably the biggest jumps of any of our territories that we're in. So good job if you sell in Indiana. Plenty of opportunity to make some money there. And then also looking at the active inventory, you see their active inventory is up to 973. While the inventory in terms of months is by far the lowest, just because of the number of sales they do, sitting at about a half month worth of sales.
Is the average days on market including when it's under contract or not?
For them, that does not include under contract.
Okay, for the rest of it.
Yeah, so each MLS kind of tracks it slightly different, and for them in Louisville, it does not count under contract. It's just basically active depending, versus Owensboro and Elizabethtown, if I'm not mistaken, count all the way through closing. So
From the time it signs us.
yeah. All right, so all in all, again, for most locations, just kind of seeing increases in inventory, increases in listings, as well as obviously average sales price and things along those lines. So looking at, let me move this so I can see this a little bit. So just wanted to note this is on a national level, but this is an article that I came across this weekend. Home prices hit another record high in June. And just so you know, a little preview, we won't get this for another month, but they're going to hit another record high in July, and I'd be really shocked if they're not going to hit another record high in August. And then after that, it'll kind of probably start to tailor down a little bit. This is important. I wanted to include this just because I want you all to know that despite the challenges that we are having, whether it be on the sales side or just the client side or things like that, homes are continuing to appreciate. And as you all know, that's one of the big drivers right now is, hey, and we've been saying this for months, but just to reinforce it, these rates are continuing to go down, and people are kind of in this holding phase right now. We're like, oh, well, I know rates are going to go down even more, so I'm just going to wait. And while it's true, rates are probably going to go down. I mean, there's a really, really good chance they do go down over the next couple months. At the same time, prices are continuing to go up. So you need to be able to have that conversation of where's the balance, right? And knowing that, okay, if rates are going to come down, then we can refinance in the future. But no matter what, you're probably not going to get that house any cheaper than you could today. As a matter of fact, if you waited 3 or 6 months through all the rate cuts and different things along those lines, pretty good chance you're ultimately going to be paying more for the house, and potentially even more on a monthly payment standpoint, depending on how everything falls. And also keep in mind, it's always worth having a conversation behind individual person's situation, meaning credit score, things like that, because even though rate drops for one person, it might not drop for somebody else, depending on their credit worthiness and things along those lines.
Again, that needs to be the message y'all put out on social media.
Yeah.
I put one out last week that house prices will probably go up the more rates drop.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're looking at a national level, I believe it's 5.9%. Looking at local levels, depending on your area, it's anywhere between 4%, and then I think Evansville's seeing like 8% or something along those lines. So depending on your area, there's a pretty significant growth. Looking at our mortgage rates, so this is last week, not a whole lot of change, and we didn't expect a lot of change. The fixed year is down ever so slightly, literally about a 1 point difference. So last week, this is this week, while FHA and VA had dropped ever so slightly, about 1/10 of a point. So again, rates are holding pretty steady. Make sure everybody sees some people taking pictures. I'll let you get that. You wanted today's, right? For the photos, okay. All right, got it. So the big thing, big announcement in regards to, I guess, rates and NARs, two different posts from two different lenders. And I did verify this to be true, but effective on or after August 17th, KHC will allow their down payment assistance to cover buyer agent fees. So if you have somebody that's doing a KHC loan, which of course is a 100% financing loan where they get a mortgage for the house and then a mortgage for their down payment, that down payment assistance can include your commission. So I wanted to make sure that everybody knew about that. So VA, KHC, FHA were basically covered from all fronts in that regard. One other thing, and I originally heard this, I was at an MLS meeting on Friday and I originally heard it there and then kind of saw this post from one of our local lenders here, but a lot of lenders, this says KHC, but I'm hearing pretty much everybody across the board is going to require documentation on proof that you are allowed to receive a commission. And what I'm hearing is even title companies are gonna start to do this, which basically means you're gonna have to submit your exclusive buyer agency form
Which is good.
prior to a closing to verify that you are entitled to get whatever percentage that the seller is offering. So once again, reinforcement that we're doing the right thing, and then B, make sure you're getting those things signed, and then knowing that, again, there's not a lot of clarity behind this, but you might not be able to raise, right? So if you sign at 2%, I'll come to you, Matt. If we sign at 2%, you might not legally, and we don't know yet, but I'm just telling you what I'm hearing, legally, you might not be able to do an addendum to go to 3, right? But you can go 3 to 2. So you can move basically down, maybe not move up. So again, just reinforcing, be good at your conversations, get the maximum amount you can and adjust from there if you need to.
You think that it's gonna let you get paid if you have it signed after contract date? So like if I sign my.
No.
Perfect.
Probably not. And my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the only thing you don't need proof of is if you was an accepted contract prior to August 17th. It was from August 17th on, if it's an accepted contract, you gotta have some sort of proof that
When
you
you're
get paid.
writing your offer, then if you don't, I mean, you should have a buyer agency. Let's just say you don't, for whatever reason, that needs to be part of the paperwork for the purchase agreement.
Me and my seller's about to be splitting some commission. Me and my seller's about to be splitting that buyer's commission, is what it sounds like. They mess up.
What do you mean?
Like, if they mess up, I'm gonna be like, so we split the rest of the commission? What are we doing here? My seller.
Oh, okay.
Depends on how it's written in your listing agreement. It might just go to your seller and none to you.
Oh, man. We'll figure it out.
It's negotiable, huh?
I'm lost. What?
I know.
I'm just trying to make some money over here.
Sounds like that, it's over easy.
I'm so,
I'm hustling.
just follow the rules.
I'm just trying to get some
I'm
money.
confused.
Basically,
What?
he's saying if he takes a listing, I'm making up numbers, but let's say takes a listing agreement 6% and the buyer's agent doesn't have any type of agreement, so he doesn't keep it, that does not mean Matt Aller gets all 6% unless it's written in his listing agreement that he does. Otherwise, the seller just nets more money and you get nothing.
Sounds like I'm.
But I feel like it is.
So you're having that
There's no
conversation, you're
agreement.
having that conversation
Yeah.
with your seller, and you're saying, if I bring the buyer myself, I will
Yes.
cut it to 5%. Do we need to have that, we'll have that written in there or no? Cause if
Well,
that
you
scenario
don't have
happens.
it. You have to have it a list,
It can be an
It
additional
should be an
comment.
addendum.
like-
You would have to have an exclusive buyer's agreement with that buyer at whatever percentage that buyer is willing to pay you. So if you get that in this situation at 3%, yeah, no problem. You get the full 3%. You don't have to have anything worked out with your seller because you're representing the buyer and they've already committed to, in the listing agreement, the new listing agreement, they've already committed to what they're willing to pay.
That's what I'm saying, it doesn't
Yeah.
say to, it says to you 6%.
Yeah.
And then how that's negotiated.
Yeah,
once
all
the
that's gonna
purchase
change in the next
price
30 days, though. I'll just go ahead and tell you.
Because
it
there's
is.
so
Yeah.
many
I'm
bad
just curious on
forums
if you
out
do
there
say-
right
yeah,
now.
I'm just trying, I'm figuring
I
out.
think it's just like any other thing. I mean, everything's negotiable. It's always been negotiable, right?
Right, I'm on that side,
That's why I
I'm
feel
just,
like
the
nothing's
paperwork
really
side, I wanna
changed
make sure I'm good,
besides,
Yeah.
like,
I'm good on that end, that's
I
where,
think,
that's where she'll come into
I
play,
think
guess.
it's all gonna end up being in the contract, and these broker-to-broker compensation forms are gonna go out the window. Because that's just my opinion, because I think the reason the broker-to-broker compensation forms are hiding commission among the agent to, you know what I mean? And the whole thing is disclosure. So if we have these broker-to-broker agreements, technically a buying agent can hide their commission to their buyer.
Yeah.
And I don't like it. That's why I have not pushed
Well,
it.
some of these
Because-
agents have been kind of.
Because, and the reason why they're doing that, this is just my belief, I could be completely off, is they don't have agreements. So they would rather get you to sign something than have a conversation with their client. So-
Every agent's first question now too is, what am I getting paid?
It's so
I know.
annoying.
And I'm like, dude,
Put it in
y'all,
the
that
contract.
is the most annoying, like you are
I know.
already starting off on the wrong.
And Louisville-
Like, come on.
I was talking to Daniel Dugan this morning, same thing, like, it's just, I just want us practicing, but I do think, are you in alignment with me on the broker to broker compensation?
Oh, they'll be gone.
Yeah.
And just a matter of time. Actually, and you know, state level,
Commission
cause
on the, on your listeners?
What?
What's that?
What's the commission you're paying on your listeners?
Don't worry about it.
also, cause this got brought up, you know, I've heard some agents talk about, well, you know, because we're members of the NAR, we're at disadvantage because non-realtors, so real estate agents, everybody understands the distinction between those, don't have to have the signed agreements. Well, guess what? KREC is already working on making a law. I don't know how long it's gonna take. They say 30 days, I say 3 years, but, they are making a law where if you have a real estate license, you have to have a signed agreement. So just FYI for
Indiana
that.
already law that.
Yeah, so KRC is working on, we don't know how long it'll take just because of the government, you know, you're literally passing a law, so it has to go all the way through those chambers, but we think that'll come and it'll be good too. All right, next up, we have NAR news and updates. Just a couple little things for you. So the NAR, in case you hadn't heard this, the NAR is obviously in an ongoing litigation with the Department of Justice, where Department of Justice investigated the NAR for antitrust about 3 or 4 years ago. They ended up settling. Well, since the Sizer verdict, they have come back out. Department of Justice, as you've heard me say, is reinvestigating everything, and they basically come out and said, hey, we want sellers to pay sellers, we want buyers to pay buyers. And there was an appeal made by the NAR to basically say, no, that's not allowed. The current NAR rules changes takes care of everything. Well, Department of Justice, basically, long story short, was like, no, that ain't gonna fly. They went to an appeals court sided with Department of Justice. So the NAR said, well, we're taking it straight all the way up to the Supreme Court. This is a really good thing. This is NAR like truly fighting on our behalf to make sure that there are no other future rule changes beyond what's already in place, like not swinging it that much further to the other side. So I'll keep you up to date with what's going on with this. I do expect this to be a year or two to play out, but just wanted to let you know that in case you get asked, I know there's a lot of agents out there like, what's the NAR do for you? Well, this is probably the biggest thing that they're doing for us right now. And this will greatly benefit our industry should they win. And ultimately, we want them to win. The next thing is buyer's agreements are incomprehensible. So this is just a headline that I grabbed real quick. And I just wanted to put this out there because we're probably going to change our forms again this week. I'm just going to go ahead and give you a heads up. There's a couple of things in there that we and Kelly are in conversations around. But what's ultimately happening is a lot of these agreements are becoming 5 or 6 pages long. We're never going to get ours to that point. We just want to make sure you're covered and protected and have the ability to earn the commission that you signed up to earn without any legal loopholes. So we're just making verbiage changes. But some of these agreements we're seeing are 5 or 6 pages long, and you're starting to see a lot of buyer pushback and saying, I'm having to hire lawyers to understand the document. So that's why me and Kelly have been really focused on creating our own documents. We are sending them through lawyers, keeping it to 2 pages or less. Minus maybe a signature dropping to a 3rd page or something like that. But we're trying to keep it really simple because of stuff like this. And I think the more that it becomes where a average Joe, if you will, can't understand a contract and has to hire a lawyer, at that point are we truly being transparent to the intent of the law. So just want you to kind of know what we're seeing out there, and then give you a heads up also that we're probably going to change it
Hey, I
at
do
least
want
one
to
more time.
speak on that, because there was a broker in town, I think Julie had posted it, that had said, hey, I will not, there's that, I think even, what's the boy's name I say boy, Nick Goss had posted it in Greater Owensboro channel. It was like gummy bears get in the van. I don't know if y'all saw that one.
Mhm.
So I wanted to talk through that. So a broker in town had said, I will show you property for gummy bears, no agreement. Can you do that? No, but they could have an agreement stating, I'll show you property and you're unrepresented. Like, that is legal. on an unrepresented client. I don't think it's good practice, and we're not gonna do it, and I think eventually, because it's so gray, they're going to have to change. So I just wanna remember, I want y'all to think through this. Anytime we have change, KW is always ahead of the curve. And so sometimes being ahead of the curve means darts, means backfire, means hissy, put a donation, hissy agents, angry agents. And just know it will pass. I've been in this spot many times throughout my career. You have to think back in the day when I started, there was no showing time. We had to hand schedule our own showings. And none of y'all have been in it as long as but I'm telling you.
I remember it. I
We
remember
used to
it.
have
God,
to
son.
text the seller and say, can this showing time work? And then we would go back and forth, and you would waste a whole day if you had, could y'all imagine?
Sounds like a Civil War documentary almost.
That was for the first 7 years of my,
Our photos were in black and white too.
yes, and people took photos with their cell phones. There was no professional photos. There was no showing time. There was no assistant. There was no nothing. Every time when we were on the forefront, or myself being on the forefront, I took darts. And so just know you all may be taking some of that, but I promise you, I've been here, it's uncomfortable, but it passes, and then it eventually is normal. So that's part of being out front. So I just wanted to kind of, it's not uncommon, like, I think it feels like, oh my gosh, why are they being like this? But to be a true leader in the industry, you have to be in that space.
Yeah, I agree with that. I had my first agent get super upset with me this weekend on asking what compensation was on one of my listings. I was like, it can be whatever you want, just put it in the offer. I was like, honestly, you can ask for anything you want. I don't care. Like, just ask for what you want. And they're like, no, I need to know a number. And I was like, it's whatever you write.
Show the house.
I was like, it can be 0.5%. It can be 10%. It's whatever you decide to negotiate.
I never done business like this before.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, yeah,
so
we've had
it's
that.
pretty crazy.
Losing my mind.
Ashley had one of those her
Yeah.
first weekend.
Yeah. Oh, same. Just so you know, same person.
Give me the same as that.
All right. And then this
Just
is.
gotta know it's okay to get fierce and to stand your ground. It's okay.
Yeah. So this one is just for information. This name should sound familiar. Josh Seitzer. I don't know if I say his name correctly, but he was the lead plaintiff that basically kicked all this off. And I came across actually one of our agents up in Indiana sent this to me over the weekend. But guess what this guy just did? So he sues, basically kicks off all of this and starts this whole thing.
Mhm.
And guess what he just launched? He just launched his own platform where you can basically pay a la carte $50 for a tour, $200 for an agent written offer, or you can do an AI written offer for even cheaper than that, or you can get an exclusive agent package for $1,800. So I only bring this up for FYI because these go public. I'm not going to give my 2 cents on it, but I'm sure you can understand where I'm going with
He'll
this.
go to big cities.
But you know,
He'll become a millionaire, but.
yeah. So it's just interesting to see
Um,
like the true motivation of people, right? And I'm gonna leave it at that. And for this, it's 100% a money grab. So I just thought that was really interesting. Yeah.
We asked for $50.
Yeah. So, but like I said, we're going to continue to monitor everything and update stuff as it comes out and let you all know kind of what we're hearing and update forums and things along those lines. I did look for broker opens today and I didn't see anything. Did you? You didn't come across anything either? Okay. So, so no broker opens today. Kelly, anything you want to end us on?
No, do y'all have any questions, or
Is this yours?
it's Emma's?
Okay. I just want to make sure it wasn't. Okay. Awesome. Hey, it's fall here. Everybody check out Kelly's boots. They're pretty sweet. I like them.
I already complimented them.
Yep.
Amazon.
I think they're
Yep.
cute.
And I found out there's apple frattes,
Whatever.
Frattes.
frattes,
There's apple frattes at Starbucks.
fritters, apple fritters coffee, apparently. Tell you how much I drink fancy coffee. I literally drink my coffee black. I'm not gonna
The
lie.
bad thing is both of us can't talk.
I know. All right, I'm glad y'all got to hear me talk today. No, everybody have a great week. Just a reminder, it's a short week, so if you need anything, don't hesitate to reach out, and then we'll see you next Tuesday.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
One-time show was cost $50. Okay. I'm working on a menu right now.
No, you're not.